Welcome to the Rhythm of Money. I'm Indigo, and I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first time, I want to say something simple before we begin. You are welcome here exactly as you are. You don't have to know anything in particular. You don't have to have done anything right. And you definitely don't have to show up already prepared to learn about money and investing. That's part of what this show is here for. We're going to get you ready for success with money. Then, step by step, we'll build from there. So if you've been carrying around this quiet feeling like there's something off in your relationship with money, maybe you feel behind or overwhelmed or tired of trying to figure it all out, you're in the right place. This show is for women in the second half of life who want to do better with money, but find that the standard advice doesn't quite reach them. They hear the advice, they may even agree with it, but somehow their actual material life doesn't really change, and they don't know why. A lot of the time, it's not because the advice is wrong, it's because the advice skips over what's actually happening underneath. The body says no before the mind even gets to choose. The shame shows up before the spreadsheet does. The self-doubt arrives before the plan can even begin. And almost no one tells you what to do with that. I'm a retired investment advisor. I spent years working with real people, talking with them about their actual financial lives, their statements, their fears, their families, their stories. And before that, I worked in business consulting and psychotherapy. What I learned through all of that is really what this show is built on. The numbers matter. They absolutely matter. But the woman doing the math matters even more when it comes to seeing real results. Now, there's something I want to say before we go much further. Something I want you to have. I'm going to just take a moment to get there because I want it to land the right way. Here's what I learned from years of looking at people's real financial lives. The women who made lasting progress weren't always the ones who started earliest. They weren't always the ones who earned the most. They definitely weren't always the ones who understood investing the best. What they had in common was that they were the ones who got just really honest about where they actually were, honest about what they actually believed about money, honest about what had been quietly getting in the way. That's when I understood something I want to give you right now. You are not behind. I know that may be hard to take in, especially if you're sitting with a number in your head right now, an age, a balance, a retirement projection that someone showed you that made your stomach drop, a bill you haven't quite faced, or just that feeling that other women your age somehow have it together in a way you should by now. But behind assumes there's some finish line everyone else is already crossing, and that is not how this actually works. So that's where we're going to start. Not with a budget, not with an investment strategy, not with a calculator or a course. We're going to start with what has been running the show underneath all of that. And later in this episode, I want to do something with you. Not just talk at you, but actually work with you directly. So stay with me all the way through. Most of us learned something about money before we were old enough to question it. We watched, we absorbed, we drew conclusions. And for a lot of women, the message sounded something like this. Real love is measured by what you give away. Caring about money makes you cold. Good women don't put themselves first. They sacrifice. They make do. They go without so other people can have. And they certainly don't talk about money. Money was something men handled, or something you didn't think about too much, because thinking about it too much meant something was wrong with you. Maybe you came from a religious tradition or a cultural tradition or just a family pattern where wealth and goodness were quietly placed on opposite sides, where truly good people didn't care about money, where wanting more was seen as vanity or greed or somehow just wrong. And so, somewhere along the way, without ever making a conscious decision, you drew a line. On one side was who you wanted to be. A good woman, maybe a loving mother, a faithful wife, a dependable friend, the one everyone could lean on. And on the other side was financial security for yourself, wealth for yourself, a comforting, well-resourced life that actually belonged to you, as if you had to choose. But you were never meant to choose. I call this the invisible vow, because most women who carry it don't even know they've made it. It wasn't really a decision, it was an absorption. You picked it up the way you picked up your accent from the people around you. In my own life, I came from a family where the women always worked. They were also primary caretakers with the children, but they worked. And I was always told that my education mattered, that it was my ticket to financial success. And even with all of that, I still spent the first couple decades of my adult life struggling with beliefs I didn't yet know I learned. However it gets inside us, once it's in there, it shapes everything. It shows up as the raise you didn't ask for, the price you set too low for your own work, the inheritance you felt vaguely guilty about, the savings account you kept small because a larger one felt dangerous somehow, like it might make you visible or make you a target. It shows up as the retirement plan you kept meaning to start, or started but never contributed to. The advisor you kept meaning to call. The account you kept meaning to understand. It shows up as giving everything you had to your kids, your parents, your partner, your service work, and feeling almost embarrassed by the idea of keeping anything for yourself. It shows up as letting someone else handle the money and then realizing one day that you don't actually know where everything is. And if something happened to that person, you wouldn't know how to pick up where he left off. It shows up in your body too. The way your shoulders tighten when a bill arrives. The way you don't open the envelope or the email or the statement. The way you don't get the will done or the trust or the documents you know you need. The way you keep telling yourself, I'll deal with this later. None of that is because you're irresponsible. None of it is because you're bad with money. It means some part of you believed that wanting financial security made you less of the person you were trying to be. And that belief, that quiet, invisible vow you made without knowing it, may have shaped your financial life more than any particular investment decision you've ever made or avoided making. I want you to hear that clearly. The choices you have made about money and the choices you haven't made, the avoidance, the postponement, the things that looks like procrastination but isn't really procrastination. Those are not the real problem. They're symptoms. The vow underneath is what has been running things. And that means changing your behavior without changing the vow usually doesn't work for very long. You can read every personal finance book, download every app, build every spreadsheet you're taught to build, and still keep running into the same wall. Because the wall isn't out there. It's in here. And that is actually good news. Because something that's in here can be looked at. It can be named. It can be questioned. It can be updated. We're going to do that work slowly in the episodes ahead. We're not going to rush through it. We're not going to fix you. There's nothing wrong with you. We're going to look at what's there with care, maybe a little humor, and let it shift in the way things actually shift, not by force. Now, this is the moment I mentioned earlier. The work of this show is not just listening, it's also feeling. So let's take a few moments together now and let what we've just talked about land in the body, not just in the mind. Because your body knows things your mind may not have caught up to yet. Now, if you're driving right now, please keep almost all of your attention on the road, not me. And maybe with just a small part of your awareness, notice how you're moving with the rest of the traffic. Each of you is in your own car, but you're also moving together like one sea of movement. Let that just be a soft background awareness if that feels comfortable. For everyone else, if you're somewhere safe to do this, let yourself settle a little. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw release. Let your breath become a little deeper, not forced, not managed, just allowed. And notice that the chair under you, or the ground beneath your feet, is supporting you. You are being held by something steady. Now bring to mind one specific money moment from your life. Not the worst, not the most dramatic one, just an ordinary one. Or maybe a recent bill, checking your account balance, opening a piece of mail or not opening it, setting it aside when you see it. Something simple. Let that memory come into your awareness and notice what your body does. Where might it tighten? Where might it close? Where does it seem to pull back or pull down? Maybe it's in your chest. For a lot of people, it's in the stomach. Maybe your shoulders move up toward your ears, or your teeth clench. Maybe your breath gets shallow before you even realize it. Just notice whatever is there. You don't have to fix it. You don't have to change it. You don't have to make it spiritual or positive or better. Just see it. The way you see something in a mirror. This is what I want you to know. The thing your body just did, that's the invisible vow. Not the words of it, the body of it. The place where it actually lives. That's where it shapes your decisions. And one of the reasons it has so much power is that most of us have never simply looked at it without trying to make it go away. So for these few minutes, you don't have to make it go away. You don't have to be calm. You don't have to feel different. You only have to be with what's actually there. Keep noticing. If the feeling starts to sort of fade away so you can't really feel it, think about the issue a little bit more. But we're not trying to figure it out, so we're only using the issue to strengthen the clarity of the feeling. If you can feel the feeling, let the thoughts about the money moment fade away. Focus on the feeling. Now let yourself notice something else. Notice the part of you that is aware, the part of you that can see the tightness or the pulling away, the closing, the clenching. That part is not tight. That part is not afraid. That part is simply witnessing. You have always had that part. Even when the vow was running everything, the witness was there, quiet, patient, waiting for its turn to lead. That witness has been here through all of it, reading the spreadsheets with you, opening the bills with you, watching the decisions you made and the ones you couldn't quite make. The fear may be loud, the vow may be loud, but the witness, the part of you that can see all of this clearly, has been there the whole time. You can always come back to her anytime you need to. She isn't going anywhere. For now, just keep company with her a little longer. Rest there. Notice the breath. Notice that you're here in this moment, listening to a woman talk about money, and maybe feeling something soften just slightly in a place that has been holding tight for a long time. That softening is not nothing. It's where the real work begins. Before we close, I want to leave you with one practical invitation. It's not an assignment or homework, it's just an invitation. This week, sometime when you can find or carve out a few quiet minutes, take what I'm going to call an honest first look. It's not a budget or a plan or a calculator session, just a look. Look at what's coming in, what's going out. What do you own? What do you owe? Not to judge it, not to compare it with where you think it should be, just to see it. Many women avoid this step not because they're lazy, but because looking feels dangerous. It can feel like if you see the full picture, something terrible will be confirmed, and then what will you do? But in my experience, the full picture is almost never as bad as the story the mind tells about it in the dark. And seeing it clearly, just seeing it, is the first act of financial self-respect. You don't have to do anything with what you see yet. You don't have to make a plan. You don't have to fix it. We're not at that part of the show yet. For now, you only have to be willing to look. That's plenty for today. Before you go, I'd like to know something. If the invisible vow we talked about today feels familiar to you, where do you notice it most? In a decision, in a feeling, in something you've been postponing? Tell me in the comments or wherever you found this episode. I read everything that comes in, especially if it's on like YouTube or Spotify. And if this episode was useful, follow the show wherever you're listening. That way you'll know when the next episode's available and you can keep moving through this with us in sequence. Each episode builds on the one before. Here's what I want to leave you with going into the next time. Because here's what I've noticed. When women actually sit and do what I just asked, something happens. Something quick, almost reflexive. A particular response that arrives before they've even looked at a single number. And if you don't know what it is or what to do with it, it will keep stopping you every single time. That's what we're going to work with next. This is the rhythm of money. And you are living your true note in this very moment.